So let me start off this video with a little statistic for you. For the past 2 years on this channel, my favorite movie of the year has come from the month of July. Specifically, it's come from the third weekend in July, which this movie falls under. Let's just say that history is on its side. Twisters is the latest legacy sequel to hit theaters. It's the biggest summer blockbuster out right now. It's a legacy sequel to this bad boy from 1996, which I just reviewed on this channel in preparation for this. And this was directed by Lee Isaac Chung, the man who made Minari, a phenomenal smaller movie that came out during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic in 2020, won a bunch of Oscars that year. So now he goes from this to a $200 million budget. Our hero in this movie is named Kate, played by Daisy Edgar-Jones. She's haunted by a devastating encounter with a tornado, and she gets lured back to the open plains by her friend Javi, played by Anthony Ramos of In the Heights fame. Javi basically wants to bring Kate out because he knows that Kate is an expert, and he wants to test a groundbreaking new tracking system for twisters. Along the way, she crosses paths with Tyler Owens, played by Glen Powell. Tyler is a charming but reckless social media superstar who thrives on posting his storm-chasing adventures. His face is on t-shirts, he's got 1 million subscribers, something like that. This guy is known as the Tornado Wrangler. That's a fun gimmick. So as storm season intensifies, Kate, Tyler, and their competing teams find themselves in a fight for their lives, all as multiple tornadoes converge over their home in central Oklahoma. Now, for the record, I dubbed this a legacy sequel. Sequel is not what Twisters is. Let me just throw that out there right now. Anyone who loves that first movie from 96, prepare to be a little bit disappointed, because none of our main characters are related to Dr. Joe Harding. Nobody's related to Bill Paxton's character or anything. No, these are all new characters. The only real big connection to the first movie is that these guys are starting off using those Dorothy prototypes that you saw in the original. But that's about it, other than the name obviously being the plural version and the text of the title being very similar. But no, this is very much a standalone movie. And man, is it entertaining. When you think of a 90s summer blockbuster, this is what you would think of. Except you have better CGI, better technology, and a $200 million budget to work with. And let's just say that Lee Isaac Chung makes the most of this. And I think because of this direction, and because of the camera work and the cinematography alone, this movie might have beaten the original Twister. The effects are absolutely a spectacle. This is 150,000% a movie that you have to experience in IMAX just like I did. This theater was packed with people out the wazoo. People were excited. They applauded at the end of this movie. It felt like an experience, which you can't normally say that for a lot of movies that call themselves blockbusters nowadays. This isn't a comic book movie. There's no superhero attached to this. Well, unless you want to count Glen Powell as a superhero. But no, this movie feels completely original in and amongst itself, and I actually really respect Twisters for taking the approach that it did. Because it sets up its own storyline, it sets up its own very interesting characters who have their own traumas to deal with. Like Daisy Edgar-Jones as Kate, and Daisy Edgar-Jones gives the best performance in this movie. I'm just gonna throw that out right now. I remember her starring turn in a smaller movie called Fresh, which is a Hulu exclusive, came out a couple years ago. I thought back then that Sebastian Stan was gonna get an Oscar for that, because I was looking at it and I'm like, hey, that's the modern Patrick Bateman. And Daisy Edgar-Jones is a freaking revelation there. Yeah, that movie didn't get nearly enough attention that it deserves. It's so underrated. But thankfully, Daisy Edgar-Jones is a freaking delight in this movie. She is so easy to root for. And it's all about how actors handle just the typical conversations that they have between characters. Just the little ticks that Daisy Edgar-Jones has in her performance is what I noticed. And that's the true test of a master in the making. Daisy Edgar-Jones, I think, is a superstar. I can't wait to see what she does next. And speaking of superstars, Glen Powell, look, this guy is pretty much in everything. I don't want to say that this is his greatest performance that he's ever put out. Certainly would not put this movie above Hitman, which is on Netflix, came out just a month ago. That was his best work. But it's clear that he's here to play the movie star and the good-looking guy, the charming guy, and he certainly fits that bill. This is a role that absolutely plays to Glen Powell's strengths. I've never had such a wishy-washy feeling watching a character in a movie, because I thought this guy was such an asshole when we met him. Thankfully, not all YouTubers are like that. And I'm actually glad they went the direction of making this guy a super intelligent meteorologist who happens to have a YouTube channel with a gigantic following. And pretty basic charming performance aside, this is a really fun character to get behind. Glen Powell is great in this. This cast, really, like, there's not one weak link here. Anthony Ramos is in this movie. He gets a lot to do in here. He is so freaking good. And a lot like the original Twister, across the board, you get a bunch of recognizable faces in here. I didn't even realize that David Corenswet, the new Superman, is actually in this movie, playing a more assholey character. He was really great. I mean, the true stars of this movie to me feel like, I mean, even though the performances are great, Daisy Edgar-Jones was absolutely the standout. Lee Isaac Chung's direction, like, I can't even begin to tell you how amazing this movie looks. Like, I'm serious. If you can see Twisters on the big screen, do yourself a favor and do that. It is just such a cool viewing experience. And the movie also appeared to make the soundtrack a huge star in this movie, and it almost felt like it was getting a little bit too over-reliant on the soundtrack. You hear a Jelly Roll song popping up every now and then. I mean, I don't even know what a Jelly Roll is. But yeah, given the environment that they're in, it is a perfect blend of just country music all throughout. I felt myself bopping my head throughout this movie. Really good soundtrack. I mean, as far as summer blockbusters go, Twisters checks all the boxes on what you want. Is this a perfect movie? No. Far from it. I think what it all boils down to is this. Twisters has a script that overly relies on story beats that we've seen a million other times in other movies like this. Like, our hero has a traumatizing event that is very frightening, just like the original Twister, and that inspires her to leave the storm chasing business. Like, we get it. We've seen this sort of storyline before. Even as much as I was praising Glen Powell's performance, like, yeah, you've seen this idiot in other movies. They're almost teasing sort of a love triangle between our three leads as well. And yeah, you've seen a love triangle in a bajillion other movies. What else is new? So the script either goes too over-reliant on the familiar story beats, or it just adds a couple of subplots here and there that don't even need to be there. I had the same problem with the first Twister movie. You don't need to add a human villain. It just needs to be human tornadoes. There you go. Let all hell break loose. With that first Twister, you had a goofy doctor villain played by Cary Elwes. Case in point, in hindsight, I don't really think you needed him in that movie, even though Cary Elwes is very famous and he gives a very over-the-top bombastic performance in that. This one, I think, to a lesser extent, because there's a storyline involving a land developer. Literally, it goes nowhere. Like, you can trim that out of the movie and you probably wouldn't have lost anything. So is this movie better than the original Twister? I don't know yet. What I can tell you is that it's certainly very entertaining and the definition of what a summer blockbuster should be. Daisy Edgar-Jones is a superstar. Can't wait to see what else Lee Isaac Chung does with his directing career, because that guy is awesome. And my verdict is, if you actually want to go to the movie theater and get some excitement out before your quintessential comic book movie comes out, Twisters is going to be your ticket. And you can watch this movie without watching the first one. I'll just let you know that right now. I had a friend I was watching the movie with, never saw the original Twister, and he followed everything perfectly fine. So with that said, I'm going to give Twisters an A-, which on the tornado grading scale would also be rated an EF5 for maximum excitement. These are all just my opinions. Let me know what you guys thought of Twisters down in the comments section. Did you think this was better than the first Twister? Let me know also what your favorite legacy sequel is, because we've gotten a lot of them. There's a lot of correct answers to that question. I love discussing all new things in the cinematic world over here on the regular. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tap on that thumbs up as well, because summer blockbuster season really is heating up with the release of Twisters. Next week, I'm super excited to finally check out Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. My tickets are secured. I can't freaking wait. So stay tuned for my thoughts on all these new releases and much, much more. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.